Something I love to do whenever I'm visiting wine regions in Europe is to hop in my rental car, roll the windows down, and go for a long drive through the countryside. Now, of course, it's not just Europe where you can do this. Most wine regions throughout the world are pretty charming, picturesque places. But Europe has this one added bonus that you rarely find anywhere else in the world. It can seem like around every bend in the road, you look up and see another beautiful fairy tale-like medieval castle perched on the hillside. Now, I know we usually stay focused on wine in these videos, but in honor of the upcoming spooky Halloween holiday, I thought we would take a closer look at what happened in these idyllic medieval fortresses. There are going to be no fairy tale princesses with happy endings. We're going to take a long, strange trip through the dark side of medieval castles in wine regions. Every respectable medieval castle would have a dungeon, a torture chamber, and probably a dungeon master hired full-time on staff. Whatever horrifying method your dungeon master might have chosen, it's hard for me to imagine a more frightening place than being in the dungeon of a medieval castle waiting for your executioner to have his turn with you. So, now that you have a little history, let's start our tour. We're going to begin our tour in Italy, more specifically in Tuscany. Tuscany's two main cities, Florence and Siena, were at war for hundreds of years with each other. In some ways, they still are. Consequently, you have medieval castles almost on every hillside throughout. One of my favorite castles is in the town of Montalcino. The castle of Montalcino is absolutely like a playground for both children and adults alike. It is built at the highest point in the city. It's open to the public. As you venture down into the castle, where the dungeon and torture chamber once existed, it's now been converted into a wine shop where you can sample and buy some of the best wines of the region. I particularly like the Poggio Castellari Brunello di Montalcino. It's a sensuous, savory wine with dark fruit, perfect with your grilled bat wings or whatever you choose to serve this holiday season. A short drive north from Montalcino, you enter into the region of Chianti and one of Italy's most haunted castles. The Poppy Castle was built in the early 12th century. It was in the hands of the Guidi family, a noble family, and Count Guidi had an arranged marriage with a young woman named Matilda. Well, Matilda soon became bored with Count Guidi, and she would seduce young men from the village into her castle. For fear of being accused of adultery, she would always have the young men leave through a secret exit. Little did they know they would fall to their death. Soon the townspeople became suspicious that many of the young men were disappearing. They soon realized it was probably Matilda. They raided the castle and walled her up in the highest tower of the castle. She soon starved to death, but her ghost still haunts the castle today. If you do visit the Poppy Castle, it's open to the public, I strongly suggest a glass or two of the local wine. Poggerino Chianti Classico in the nearby region of Rada is one of my favorite Chianti Classicos. Vibrant, rich acidity, just an absolutely delicious wine. Driving north from Tuscany and up into the Italian Alps, you're soon in Austrian wine country and the home of one of the most notorious castles in all of Europe. The Muscham Castle was the site of some of the most horrific witch trials that Europe has ever seen. The witches were rounded up, tortured, and publicly executed at Muscham Castle. A couple of hundred years later, in the 1800s, the townspeople became suspicious once again because they kept finding a number of cattle and deer that were being killed around the castle. Of course, as the tradition of the town was, they decided it must be werewolves. And once again, hundreds of people were rounded up, taken to the castle, tortured, and killed. If you do decide to visit the castle, it is open to the public. I strongly suggest you have a glass or two of the local Austrian wine. My favorite is the Hoppler Gruner Veltliner. Gruner Veltliner is a light, crisp, refreshing style of wine. It has this hint of white pepper to it. It pairs beautifully with salads, sushi, or a fillet of fenny snake. Driving west from Austria, you enter Germany. And Germany is the home of more than 25,000 medieval castles. One of the most spectacular, beautiful castles is the Burg-Eltz Castle. Burg-Eltz Castle was built in the year 1157, and the list of myths surrounding the castle are almost as long. One of its most infamous residents was a Countess Agnes. Agnes was killed in her bedroom defending the castle from wrongdoers. If you visit the castle, her bedroom is one of the places you can go. Her battle axe and breastplate are still there, along with a crossbow, which apparently was used to kill her. Her ghost haunts the castle to this day. She turns off lights and haunts visitors. If you do visit Burg-Eltz Castle, once again, I'm a strong proponent of having a glass or two of wine to calm your nerves. I would have one of my favorite Mosel Rieslings. The Maximum Grünhaus Mosel Riesling is light, crisp, full of acidity, just an absolutely historic estate. They've been making wine almost as long as the Burg-Eltz Castle has been in existence. This wine is absolutely delicious with some eye of newt and toe of frog. A short drive from the German wine regions, we wind up in France. Today we're going to stay in Alsace. Alsace is tucked between the Vosges Mountains and the Black Forest. In Kaisersberg in particular, it's a short walk up to the Castle of Kaisersberg. And the Castle of Kaisersberg is in partial ruins today, which makes it even spookier. But you can still enter the castle and walk up this large turret to the very top, which interestingly is where the dungeon was kept at this castle. While in Alsace, don't forget to try some of the local wines. They make fantastic Pinot Gris, Gewürztraminer, Muscat, and Riesling. I love the Zinc Riesling. It's a little richer and fuller bodied than their German counterparts, but perfect with wool of bat and tongue of frog. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Oh, we're back on camera. Hey, so this spooky Halloween season, if you're having friends over, gather around the bubbling cauldron, make your favorite witch's stew, and don't forget to pair it with some wines. Stop by one of our stores, look for a suggestion, or visit us at abcfws.com. And check out our other videos.